We'll be doing page 155 using this textbook. We are doing variation order. So measuring variations of work not attempted before issuing of variation order. A change to one item of the works can affect other related terms. So if we have a 220 watt and then we have a frame here, let's say the size of the frame is 110 again. So for us to get the reverse again, we're going to say it is 220 minus 110, and then we divide by 2 if our frame is in the middle, right? Then here, let's say we'll get 55. If we change the size of the wall from 220 to 270, and then our frame is still the same, are we going to get the same reveals as when we were using 220? No. So now our wall is 270, our frame is still 110. To get the reverse, we're going to say 270 minus 110. What do we get? That answer that we're going to get, and then we divide by 5. The size of the reveals when using a 270 wall will not be the same as when you use a 220 wall if your frame remains the same. So that's what they mean when they say a change to one item. A change to the size of the wall can affect many things. Okay? And then it is therefore necessary to compile a list of all items that may be affected by the change. The following are examples of how one item can affect others. Changing roof eaves with overhang to flush eaves will affect the dimensions of the roof covering, length of rafters, rainwater goods, etc. Changing wall size will affect a window or door opening, including the finishes. So example 3.4, they say diagram 3.51 shows an external 4-panel door. Here is our diagram 3.14. It shows the door. Addendums A and B are measurements of the door. So variation, they will take off for you. What you need to do is to omit and add. Measure the following variation order. External door to be into 70, hollow wall. In lieu means instead of. So now they want us to change uh, the wall to be 270 instead of 220. So external door to be in 270. They want the door to be 270. That is the change that they want us to do. The door should be 270 in lieu instead of 220 solid wall. No work was attempted before the issuing of this variation order. Do not measure net, but keep the following sections separate: omission and additions. So here is our door. We have the size of the wall there, which is 220. Yeah, the size of the wall is 220. Our frame is 114 by 76. So now let us check what they gave us. More they've already taken off for us again. So the door, Varle, we should make changes to the size of the wall again. So will the door be affected?
No,
The paint
no,
and then the frame on the door, it will not be affected. For the frame, we don't use the wall. Again, frame, we're going to use the height of the door plus the size of the frame again. So it will also not be affected. And then still on the frame, we are subtracting part, or we are adding the ones here. So still it won't be affected. It's still part of the frame again. And then here it's paint on the frame, it will not be affected. Ironmongery is furniture, it will not be affected. If we change the size of the wall from 270 to 220, mortise lock it's any fail. Hinges it's any fail. So let us move. The 4-lever mortise lock, it won't be affected, okay? And then the dowel mortise, it won't be affected. The steel clamp, they won't be affected. What will be affected is the adjustments to the wall and wall finishes. So here they say deduct one brick wall. Here we have 0.92. This 0.92, how did they get the 0.92? So the 0.92 is the width of the frame. So it will not be affected again. And then this 2.24, still it won't be affected. there is no 220 here or 270 again, so it means this part won't be affected. However, we can't skip this bracket. Why? Because the description says one brick wall, so sometimes you won't see 270 or 220, but then the description will give you something. So here we're going to change this bracket. We're going to omit this bracket. Why? There is a one brick wall, and they said they want a 270 wall instead of a one brick wall, so it means we are going to omit this bracket again. We're going to omit this bracket, and then let us check what changes they will make. Here, instead of one brick wall, they will say a 270 hollow wall, I get a 270 cavity wall. I get a one brick wall is 220. So this is the change that we are going to make. So let us check our omissions. There it is, omission. Omission is just copy and paste. You do not change anything again. So it means you're going to take this bracket as it is, and then you copy it the omission. You open a bracket, you copy what you want to change, and then let's check additions. So in additions, as you can see, they've changed the description into 70 hollow wall instead of one brick wall. I want to get so that will be affected. The description will be affected. Instead of a one brick wall, instead of a 220 wall, it will be a 270 hollow wall. Then let us continue. This one we said it will be omitted again, and then deduct ICP. ICP is internal cement plaster on the brick walls. So the internal cement plaster on the brick walls will not be affected. Why will it not be affected?
Because
This 0.92, I get it, it's the width. More when we deduct, we are deducting the part that will be replaced by the door. Okay, so this is the width of the frame, and then this 2.09. Okay, this 2.09. Okay, by Jack, this 2.09. So this 2.09, it is the height of the frame. I get it, the height that they are going to deduct. Instead of the wall, there will be working the door. I get. So this 2.09, it is this 230, which is the height of the door, plus 56. 56 ki more the part here, the frame. I get. So they got 2086, and then it won't be affected. Like one, there is no 220, there's nothing there, so it won't be affected. This bracket will not be affected. We now go to the threshold. The threshold will be affected because there's a 220 here. I get threshold the length or width of the frame. I get the width of the wall. So the Watala night 220. It means if we change the wall to be 270, the threshold will be affected. The width of the threshold will no longer be 220. Again, it will be as 270. So this one will be affected. So let us check the changes that they made. As you can see there, they did copy and paste. Threshold, you just do copy and paste. Omissions, get copy and paste, you don't change anything. So there is our bracket as it is. And then let us check what they changed. Look at the additions. Here is the concrete in surface bed. This is the threshold. So as you can see, they made a change here. It was 0.22 and it is now 0.27.
grano.
Now we go to the formwork to edge not exceeding 300 millimeter. As you can see, it is 0.92, which is the width of the frame. This 922, it won't be affected. We now go to grano to surface bed. So it will be affected because there's a 220 here, 0.22. We are going to change it into 0.27. So let us omission, it is copy and paste. So it's 0.92 and 0.22 as it was. And then let us add, there is our bracket. So they changed 0.22 to 0.27. This is 270 instead of 220. And then now brass water bullet into the ground. It won't be affected. As you can see, 0.92 width of the frame again. So it will not be affected. We now go to the reveals. Our reveals will be affected. Here it is 2.09 and 0.05. This 0.05 is the width of the reveals. And how do we get the width of the reveals? We say our wall is 220. We have a frame. They said our frame is 114. They gave us 114 there, so our frame is 114. So it is 220 minus our frame, which is 114. Get reveals are the spaces on the sides of the frame. So it is 220 minus 114. It gives us 106. it gives us 106, and then we need to divide by 2 because we want this space here and also this space here. So they got 53 and then took off this 53, they put it there 0.05. So if we change the wall from 220 to 270, the reveals will be affected, the width of the reveals will be affected. It will no longer be 220 here, it will be 270 minus 114. You don't change anything else, you only change the size of the wall from 220 to 270, then minus 114. Whatever answer you're going to get, you will divide it by 2 and then you get the answer, you replace the 0.05. So let us check how they did it. Here is our reveals. They put the bracket as it is again. Also the paint on the reveals is going to be affected again because it ever painter the width of the reveals. So and the width of the reveals is 0.05. If they change the size of the wall, this reveals will be affected. So as you can see, they did copy and paste exactly as it is, and ICP and the paint again. So 0.05 here, it will change. You are going to copy and paste the reveals as they are. However, before we do this bracket here, the reveals, you need to introduce a bracket. In additions, you need to introduce a bracket. Why are you introducing a bracket? We were aware that the reveals that they used here, ke tja eng, tja 270, but then now they are changed from 220. At this actually botala 220, they are now using a Walia 270 again. Rather, we open a new bracket and then we introduce what it is, a 270 halo what. So this 270 halo wall, it just shows what we are no longer using the 221. So before the reveals again, you need to do this bracket, you add. So it's 270 halo wall, and then this part, it is going to take this like that 2.09. So you open a bracket and then 2.09 you multiply by 2. You do not add the width, you just introduce the 270 hollow wall and then you do this bracket. So this bracket the reveals, I said omissions, it's copy and paste, and then on additions, instead of 220 you're going to write 270, then the rest of the calculations will be the same. The answer that you'll get will be replaced by 0.05. And then now we move. So now extra over for external soldier arc, it won't be affected. And then deduct extra over brickwork for external facings. Will this be affected?
Yes.
Because there's 220 here again. So over 2.027. And then 114 by 76 precast lintel, will it be affected? No, the precast lintel I get the precast lintel, it's just the width of the frame plus 2 of the bearings again, so it won't be affected. And then ICP to the concrete soffit. So before the soffit and before the reveals, you need to introduce a bracket to show where you are no longer using the 220 wall. You introduce a bracket saying here the wall that you'll be using on addition. So it's 270 hollow before this bracket your concrete soffit, and then it takes the length again. So always the bracket that you introduce, Yahoo, it was not there on the takeoff. You only take the length. So now you're going to open a bracket and say 270 hollow wall, what, so feet. And then you take off at 0.92, you close the bracket. It only takes the length. Just as on the reverse, we said it's 270 hollow wall, and then it took the length, I need 2.09 multiplied by 2. Then now our final bracket will be ICP to concrete soffit. ICP to concrete soffit, the reason it changes, it's because there is 0.05 here, and this 0.05 is for the width of the reveals. Why does the soffit take the width of the reveals? This is our frame, and then soffit again, it's here on top again. It is the position of the lintel. So as you can see, the reveals again the more frame. If from here to there we have 0.05, also at the top we have 0.05. So the reveals the soffit did you same width. That's why soffit will be affected. Although I only 220, the more description you don't see 220. However, the width will be affected because did you the same width again. So here is our omission. They omitted the one brick wall because the description says one brick wall. It will change to 270. The threshold, we omitted because of this 0.22. The granite to surface bed, we omitted because of this 0.22. Our reveals, we omit them because of this 0.05. The width that is here, it is because they use the 220 wall, so it's going to change into 270 wall. The soffit, it will change because it's 0.05, and as you can see there, it's the same as the reveals. And then we now add from 1 brick wall to 270, it doesn't change here. The concrete surface bed, they change 0.22 to 0.27. The granite to surface bed, they change 0.22 to 0.27. The reveals, you introduce a new bracket to show that it is no longer a 220 wall but a 270 hollow walls, okay? And then extra over brickwork for external facings. This will change because you're now using a 270 you're now using a 270 wall instead of a 220, so the width will change. And then building 270 hollow wall, it will also change. I I change. I just introduced it. I get reach the length of the soffit, and then the ICP on the soffit, you change up 0.08 here, you change it was 0.05. Okay, so that is how we omit and add. That is how we do variation. And then you can't do omission on this page, and then if it ends here, you do addition here. It has its own pages, omission there, and then addition on the other one.